G'day. G'day guys. So this is, I've just thought my business, and in my opinion, this is the best way to do it. So in my opinion, there are two super important parts to validation. Now, one aspect is spending time on yourself, and of course the business aspect. And we're going to speak today a lot more about the business aspect, which is more about solving a problem and whatnot. One thing I did want to note is that spending time on yourself is also incredibly important, as over 70% of issues that arise in startups are because people didn't take the time to look into their own financial position and so on and so forth. So the whole purpose of validation is because businesses cost a lot of time and money. And it's important to be realistic that 90% of startups fail. So you want to make sure that you're on the right track. Now, the key thing is about solving problems in startups. Now, what people really want is that you're solving a real problem, something that's a pain in the ass. And as a result of this problem being resolved, the customer ends up receiving a great deal of delight. So what is validation? Now, in my opinion, your point of differentiation plus market demand equals validation. So your point of differentiation is your sweet spot, your secret sauce, what differentiates you from the competition. And of course, market demand is, do people actually want this? Are people actually going to pay their cold hard cash on whatever you're trying to create? So I've got an example just to sort of help us out. So I thought of a brand new idea called Fluba, which is a car ride sharing service. So now you could attest that people really do want this. You've seen the likes of Uber, Lyft, and a number of other car sharing startups that have really set the world on fire. But in this case, let's just say there was no point of differentiation. You don't really have validation in that case because there's people that are doing they're further ahead and they're doing it a lot better than what you are. So let's just say Fluba takes a little pivot and it's a motorbike ride sharing service. So in this case, you would have point of differentiation. It's different to Uber, Lyft, or Didi, or any of those. But let's just say in this case, it's something that people don't want to use because they feel scared. They don't feel secure. And in that case, if there's no market demand, of course, you do not have validation. So that's a good little example of what I like to say is the difference between the two. So how do we actually find validation in general? Now, one thing I think is really important is to think of your idea or your business and then think about your competitor. What's really, really great in this case is, find the reasons why people are going to pay their cold hard cash from you. What are the reasons they're currently doing it from your competitors? It might not necessarily be a strength or weakness. It's just how they do things. It might be that you want to be a lot more customer centric and you want to have an com within your platform because people really struggle to use competitors because of their UX or their user interface, right? So find out, are they global? Are they local? Are they advertising online or offline? Are they a secure platform? What are the differences that you can create from them? So first, one thing I think is really, really great is to find what they're doing. So in this case, I chose Gumtree and a number of other marketplaces, which is not dissimilar to my company, Gecko, which is a rental marketplace. So I would say Gumtree is a competitor in this certain case, which is why we ended up choosing them. So we realized that Gumtree was Australia-wide. They weren't very secure. We noticed that there's a news article almost every week pretty much saying how someone had something stolen, someone got scammed, and so on and so forth. So that's one sort of route that we went down, and we pretty much picked apart all their strengths, weaknesses, or things that we have noticed within them. So then what's really important is that you do the opposite, or try and find how you were going to differentiate from your competitors in order to experience that validation and that enlightenment for all startups. So in my case, Gecko, one thing that we wanted to do is have a rental marketplace. So instead of selling items, it would be hiring. So that was a very, very key differentiator from Gumtree. Another one was that Gumtree was Australia-wide, and one thing that we want to have a huge focus on was that hyper-local environment. So that's people being able to trade and whatnot, but being able to do this in a small space. So we just started off in the eastern suburbs of Sydney. Then we also found that their platform was not very secure. As I said, we used to see all the time about all these Google alerts that would come on to my phone of someone getting scammed, someone getting robbed, and so on and so forth through using Gumtree or Facebook Marketplace or any of those. So what we decided to do is we wanted to have an incredibly secure platform via, a bond system, a two-way rating system, and so on and so forth. So that's the key things of how we were able to differentiate from Gumtree in order to try and get to that point of validation. But it wasn't easy. I'm going to pretend that this is something that only took us, 5-10 minutes. It was genuinely something that took a lot of time. And one thing that I did want to show you was an example of that. So one thing that we sort of noticed was community groups, and we thought that might be a little differentiator from Gumtree and Facebook Marketplace, because we noticed that a lot of these companies did have them, but they weren't very active. But one thing we realized was, unfortunately, our target market don't go to meetups. So we were mainly targeting people from 30 to 18 at the time, and we thought, hey, I don't think I've ever been on a company community group, and nor am I on many of them on Facebook or anything like that. So we thought, no, this isn't the best way to go about it. However, do our customers go to festivals or music festivals or something like that? So we decided, okay, what's the best way to connect with them in this way? So we decided pop-up shops. Pop-up shops, it's something that's completely out of the box, and it was the main reason of how Gecko was created in the first place. The whole reason I had it was when I went over to Falls Festival, and I was thinking of, all these items that we ended up bringing up and having to buy, and it would have just been so much more convenient just to hire it out. So we thought, hey, how about a pop-up shop that we trial and see how that goes for these festivals. Obviously, in a COVID environment, it's not something that we're looking to get into this year, but certainly as they kick up again, we want to try and do pop-up shops so that people are able to come hire items quickly and easily. So that's an example, I guess, of how we went from the point of, okay, groups being that differentiator, and then thinking, no, okay, there's actually a better way to do this. So always look to improve in that way. So you'll find similarities within each of these columns. So if you just keep writing, the strengths, the weaknesses, the things that you've sort of pointed out with your competitors, and then you find those exact opposites, you'll notice there's a lot of similarities within them. So, we saw some things about security that just kept coming up for us. So we thought, okay, that one's quite important for us. Then we also noted things about delivery. We thought, okay, that's also something that we've seen come up again and again. And that's when you need to group them into 3 different categories. So the next stage is to try and find your why. Now, Simon Sinek has an incredible YouTube videos talking about finding your why. But the one key thing that you can take away from from the whole YouTube video is people don't buy what you do, they buy how you do it. So in this example, I'll use Gecko again. If we were to go up to people on the street and tell people, hey, we're a new rental marketplace, I don't think a whole lot of people would be too excited. Oh, it's like, what does that do, right? But if we told people, hey, Gecko is all about helping people hire hard to get items easily to create unforgettable experiences, that has a completely different ring to it. So just keep in mind that, you may have a software or a tech startup in one way or another, but the whole purpose of why people want to buy things is really what you need to emphasize to your customers or to potential customers if you're still at very early stage. So with your purpose and then moving into your point of differentiation and then talking a little bit more about what you do, that should be the flow. And again, Simon Sinek talks about a great example of how Apple do this. So feel free to check that out. Now, it's really, I know I have said this, but it's really, really important to focus on this why before moving on to your hows and your whats and so on and so forth. So really, really focus on why, your why. And this takes a lot of time and a heap of iteration, but make sure that you don't tell people about what it is, but why you're doing it and the impact and the customer delight that they're going to be feeling after solving a pain point of some sort. So once you finish this, you're able to start focusing on your how and what. So once you figure out why, you're able to move on to the next stages of how it all works. And what you can do is, after you've highlighted all your differences and you've also found out what your why is and the overarching why, that should be at the top of the screen, that's when you can start focusing on your how and what. So that's when you start focusing on your USPs and actually what it is. So to give you a little bit of an example, it does take a lot of time, but it'll eventually look into something like this. So make sure that you're constantly iterating, and that's how you're able to get to this point in terms of your validation. So you move all the way from the beginning just to the end there, where you're able to sort of state, okay, what is it, and does it revolve around my why? And the best way to track this is by getting user feedback. So ring people up that you don't know. Don't speak to your best mates or your family members that say, yeah, I'll use this, or I think this is a really great idea, and all that sort of thing. Of course, the support is awesome, but a lot of the time, they may be saying these types of things just because they want to help you and they want you to continue with this passion. But one thing that, as I said at the beginning, businesses do cost time and money, and it's best to get that user feedback early rather than later about whether this is something that's worth pursuing. So the way that you can do this is just find people that you don't know, give them a ring, pretty much say, hey, is this something that you would spend your cold hard cash on? And if you talk about your why, you talk about your hows and what's different, that's gold. User feedback is absolutely gold. And if they say no, that's actually more beneficial than you think. Don't be disheartened with a no, but always ask why. Say, how can we sort of improve this? Why isn't this something that you're interested in? And you may find that this particular person isn't your target market. And that's totally cool. If that specific person isn't your target market, then there's nothing you can really do about that. Try and find your target market first, and that's when you're able to try and find a lot of lookalikes or people that are like that in order to keep moving forward. So that user feedback is so crucial when you're just beginning. So awesome. So in terms of resources, this is the things that have helped me. And when I first got started, the 2 YouTube videos that I get, all my interns or employees to start watching is Start With Why, Simon Sinek, as I've sort of mentioned throughout this talk. And Sell Me This Pen by Dan Locke is also incredibly powerful in terms of marketing, and the example he shows about when he buys a suit and how you feel when you're buying the suit. It really goes into that why you're doing something. Other great resources is How to Start a Startup by Sam Olsen at Y Combinator, and Visante.com, which is made by Visante from Right Click Capital. So certainly recommend checking those out. And of course, if you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to reach out to me directly via LinkedIn or anything like that. So yeah, thanks guys.